Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the podcast. And today, I'm going to go over some news and rumors specifically pertaining to AEW, some news that dropped this past weekend that I want to talk about with you guys, and, pretty much how I feel about the current status right now of AEW and what I think is coming down the pike for AEW. So, let's get started with some of the news, man. Obviously, this weekend was a big weekend for AEW, if you guys don't know. It's been speculated for months at this point, with obviously certain talents being pissed off and pretty much irate with AEW and Tony Khan. And, there's been a lot of stuff that's been coming out, man, from, certain talents that definitely had their displeasures with AEW. And that line goes around the block. And as, for the past couple months, we've seen over time, man, certain talents that have been pretty much reprimanded from AEW. I mean, if you look at Ray Phoenix, this guy, really wants to get released from AEW, and, they're not, having him work on the indies, they're not selling his merch, they're just pretty much keeping the guy home in AEW purgatory, so he really can't do anything. And you look at Ricky Starks and how Ricky wants to get out of AEW, Miro also wants to leave, and everything's been kind of crazy so far with AEW, and obviously a lot of people, including myself, are not really liking the direction of AEW and where they're going currently right now. But speaking of those certain talents, it was announced this weekend from multiple media outlets that certain talents were actually released out of their contract from AEW. So let's talk about the guys, the men and women that got released from AEW. Number one, Miro. Miro finally gets his release from AEW. We have not seen Miro on AEW television for a very long time. Obviously, he had some issues with the direction of his character in AEW, and has asked for his release. And finally, Tony Khan and AEW finally granted his release. They parted mutually, and obviously Miro is able to go work where he pleases, and he's no longer employed with AEW. My thoughts on this, bro, I mean, honestly, is it a huge miss for AEW? Not entirely, because at the end of the day, AEW really didn't know what to do with Miro. They really didn't. And Miro, we saw Miro less on TV than we did see him actually a part of AEW while he was signed with AEW. I mean, they brought him in to be the best man, if you will, to Kip Sabian, and his career kind of fluctuated up and down for a while in AEW, and it got to a point where they weren't really using him at all. And they brought Lana in. There was a little story there with Lana, and then Lana, obviously left AEW, and then we really haven't seen Miro since then. To be honest with you, man, I think it's a win-win for Miro to get the hell out of AEW. I don't think there's literally anything for that guy to do in AEW at this point. I just don't see it. I think when it pertains to Miro, and obviously a lot of people are going to say this too, but, if the opportunity's there for Miro to go back to WWE, then go ahead. Now, whether, WWE is going to bring back Miro, who knows? My initial thought was, okay, Miro's released from AEW. Another great place for him to wrestle, to be honest with you right now, will be TNA. TNA would bask in the opportunity to have a talent like Miro on that roster. And it'd be great for him and great for TNA. I think TNA, man, is one of those sleeping giants right now that, nobody really knows what's going on, but a lot of people are liking, they're liking what they're seeing over there in TNA. And, when Miro got released and it was announced, my initial thought process was, okay, well, he's finally released from AEW. If he doesn't sign back with WWE, or they don't want Miro back in WWE, then if I was Miro, I would entertain the idea, if, the opportunity is given, is to work with TNA. TNA has a great roster. They have a really good following, obviously. A lot of things have changed for TNA. Obviously, they have their working relationship with WWE now. I would put Miro on TNA if WWE right now doesn't want Miro right now on the roster right now. I would 100% have Miro go to TNA and have him run Rush Shop on the TNA roster. Absolutely. The other name that was announced was Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks finally, after all this time, finally was granted his release. He is no longer with AEW, and he is 100% a free agent. He can work wherever he pleases to go in the future, and the future does look pretty bright for a guy like Ricky Starks, man. When this was announced, man, I was overjoyed. This guy, Ricky Starks, I remember watching Ricky Starks when he was in NWA. He was a rookie, man. This guy, wrestled in the Indies. He was brought in from Billy Corgan and NWA, and he was doing great things. I know he had a match with, I remember a matchup that he had with Trevor Murdoch for the NWA Television Championship. It was like a tournament. And the kid had potential then, man. The guy had a lot of potential. He's still very young in this game. He has a lot of time to build his craft. But again, man, it was one of those things where Tony Khan and AEW dropped the ball with another talent. Ricky Starks could have been that guy, that huge baby face to save this company. And, they dropped the ball on him, man. I mean, the last time we saw Ricky, he was teaming up with Big Bill. They were AEW Tag Team Champions and all, that whole thing fell out. And then Ricky was off television. So, we haven't seen Ricky Starks on AEW television in quite a while. We saw him on the Indies. He was working, GCW events. He was working House of Glory events. And then all of a sudden he was pulled from GCW events. But Tony Khan was still nice enough to sell his merchandise, from what I understand, at AEW events. But, he would not showcase these, Ricky Starks on AEW television. Whether it was Rampage, Dynamite, or Collision, he was not showcasing Ricky Starks at all. And now that he got his release, man, I mean, again, this is something where, when this was announced, I thought for sure WWE. 100%. Whether it's NXT or the main roster, and it very well could be NXT, to bring him in to kind of build up his craft and have him run, rough shop on the NXT roster. I'm all for it. I think Ricky would do great things if he goes to WWE. I think he'll do great things. Whether that's the main roster or on NXT, it's not like they couldn't use a talent like Ricky Starks. He's great on the microphone. He cuts a good promo. He's a good wrestler. He's got a strong finish. I think WWE would be happy as hell to have Ricky Starks. So when that was announced, I was happy. I was happy for Ricky that he finally got away from AEW and he's able to wrestle where he pleases. Whether it's WWE, TNA, or New Japan, the guy can wrestle wherever he wants, and now he's no longer tied down to AEW. So again, Miro and Ricky Starks were both finally released from their AEW contracts. The other person I want to talk about that was not technically released from his contract, but he let his contract run out and he is not re-signed, is Malachi Black, or a.k.a. Aleister Black. He is not rejoining or re-signing with AEW, and all signs lead to Malachi Black joining once again, or rejoining, the WWE. My thought process on this, I feel like it was kind of already written in stone that Aleister Black was going back to WWE. And WWE was making arrangements for that to happen. I personally believe that Aleister Black will return to WWE. He will also return on SmackDown. I think, with Zelina already getting, traded over to SmackDown, obviously Zelina and Aleister Black are in a relationship. They can have him come in as a babyface or most likely a heel. And I still predicted the fact that you can bring in someone like Aleister Black, and the first person that he has a storyline with is Damian Priest. And, Aleister Black comes in as a heel. He comes back as what he was when he was in NXT. Same music, same stage setup, everything. And he's a heel. He becomes a heel, and, he takes on Damian Priest. I know there's also been speculation that he could be a part of Monday Night Raw. You look at Raw last night that, you hear Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio saying, hey, maybe we should add somebody else to the Judgment Day because JD McDonough is out. Is that a spot to slot in Aleister Black? Will Aleister Black run the Judgment Day and kick Finn Balor out? Who knows? Chad Gable's been doing these open challenges. Is he going to, is Aleister Black going to come back and challenge Chad Gable? So again, he wasn't released out of his contract. He let his contract run out in AEW, and now he can test free agency. But to me, when it pertains to Aleister Black or Malachi Black, he's 100% WWE bound, without a shadow of a doubt. Absolutely. And to be honest with you, with all these releases and stuff with talent from AEW, I was surprised, bro, because it honestly seemed as if Tony Khan was not letting any of these talents go. That he was so pissed off and petty that he was not releasing any one of these talents from an AEW contract. And it was one of those things that was ultimately, it was leaving a stain, if you will, on AEW. Where, people were seeing this. Obviously, people are not stupid. People were seeing what was going on. And when I mean by people, I mean free agents. Professional wrestlers that want to test free agents and test the free agent market. to see where they would fit best. Obviously, they would see really what the hell was going on here with AEW and the fact that, Tony Khan and AEW would keep certain talents that want to be released that are unhappy in AEW. He would keep them in AEW purgatory, man, where they can't do a goddamn thing. They can't do shit. You look, like I said earlier, you look at a situation with Rey Fenix, and Phoenix is begging to be released from AEW, and Tony Khan's not having it. You know what I mean? He don't want to do shit with Rey Fenix. He don't want Rey Fenix working the indies. He don't want Rey Fenix on AEW Dynamite or Collision. And it's so bad that he don't even want Rey Fenix merch to be sold at AEW events. So again, it becomes a fact that, yeah, he's a, angry, pissed off, petty little man, and he's going to show you why. You look at a situation with Britt Baker. Obviously, there was a situation between Britt Baker and Tony Khan, and Tony Khan told Baker, yeah, I'm taking you off television. You know what I mean? Because them two had an altercation. And it's not the first time. So, again, it's one of those things where, and, I said this too when it pertains to AEW, and I'm going to give them their just due. If you look at the situation with AEW, came into existence, and they brought in people like Cody Rhodes and Jade and CM Punk, and now all these talents are now over to WWE. To be honest with you, if it wasn't for AEW, I don't think that would ever be a conversation. From CM Punk to Cody Rhodes to even Jade Cargill. I don't even think that would be even remotely entertained for those talents to go over to WWE. I think AEW gave them the opportunity to showcase their talent and, bring some more spotlight to these certain talents like Cody Rhodes and Jade and obviously CM Punk for WWE to once again be interested in the talents of a CM Punk after what happened to, the situation and the relationship that WWE had with CM Punk before he left. It went on an 8-year hiatus where he, didn't do anything. You had fans all around the world chanting CM Punk, and he was a no-show. He was away from professional wrestling for 8 years. And AEW comes into the fold. Tony Khan brings in CM Punk. It gets his name out there. WWE, starts looking at what CM Punk's doing. Obviously Punk gets terminated from the company and goes over to WWE, and for what it's worth, it's really paying off for CM Punk rather than AEW. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things, man. You got to look at the narrative of AEW as a whole. You can't just look at it, oh, yeah, they got released. Yeah, why? These talents begged for a release because they're pissed off with the direction of AEW. They're exhausted, they're tired, and they're just done with AEW. And to be honest with you, with the releases that just happened this past weekend with the likes of Ricky Starks and Miro, I can bet dollars to donuts, bro, that there's going to be a lot more talent on AEW's roster currently right now that are absolutely begging Tony Khan for a release out of their contract. I bet money on it. Because there's a lot more talent besides Ricky Starks and Miro that are pissed off with the current status right now of AEW. Hands down. And if people don't realize that, then obviously you're not watching the product, bro. There's people that are working in AEW that are legitimately pissed off and don't want to fucking be there. And that's pretty evident. I said the same thing about Kenny Omega when he came back. When Kenny Omega came back and he had his first match, or when he returned to AEW after dealing with diverticulitis, that guy looked like he was so pissed off to be in there that he wanted to walk right out the fucking door. And the week prior to that, he was at Wrestle Dynasty, having a matchup with Gabe Kidd, and he had the biggest smile on his face. He looked excited to be there, and then he returns to AEW, and he's like, man, fuck this goddamn place. And I mean, honestly, if you look at the facial expression of when Omega came back to AEW, it was written all over his face, bro. He looked like he walked out there and was like, yeah, fuck all this shit. I don't want to be here. And can I blame him? No. Hell no. Absolutely not. That's what I'm saying, bro. AEW, I'm not sitting here saying that they're in deep shit right now, but the water's fucking boiling right now at this point. Because you're going to, like I said, you're going to have a lot more talent that are going to want to leave this fucking company because the displeasures that they have with Tony Khan and the way that he's running this company. That's just the bottom line of it, bro. I understand he's the boss. I understand he's the CEO of this company. He's the owner of AEW. I get that. But my God, man, you want to talk about someone that is absolutely fucking delusional. It's Tony Khan. Tony Khan is a guy that believes, and sure, everybody wants to believe in their own bullshit. Absolutely. But you got to read the room, bro. Like, you really got to read the room. And obviously, if shit's not cooking, you got to pivot. You got to do something else. And right now, they're not even thinking remotely even close to a fucking pivot right now. What they think they're doing, being Tony Khan and AEW, is what they're presenting to the fans on television is exactly what the fans want. No. The fans have been saying for the past fucking 2 years now that this shit has gotten bad. It's been abysmal, man. Week after week, we're getting the same shit, rinse and repeat, and the shit has gotten worse. There's no storyline. There's no build-up towards these PLEs or pay-per-views. None of that. And you still want us fans to fork out $50 fucking dollars for these pay-per-views where there's no storyline, there's no build. The fans can't get invested in these matches because there is no fucking build. You know, how many times can we see a dream match and be like, oh yeah, it's well worth it? No, bro. And to be honest with you, with the current mindset and the current state of AEW, how many dream matches are we truly going to get right now? To be honest with you, Ospreay Omega, we're going to get Kenny Omega versus Okada at this year's All In. For what, the 5th fucking time? You know what I mean? Like, how many times can you actually book a dream match where people are like, oh yeah, this is must see? Come on, bro. I mean, build a fucking storyline. If Tony Khan's telling people, well, yeah, he's going to be in the weeds during AEW Creative, and he's going to be one of the main writers for AEW going into 2025, well, man, honestly, drop the pen and walk away. Because this shit's bad. And to be honest with you, I want AEW to be successful. I have said this multiple fucking times when it pertains to AEW. I want them to succeed. I'm not sitting here, and before I said, yeah, competition breeds success. Am I saying AEW is competition to WWE right now? Hell no. But it gives opportunities for these talents to go somewhere else besides just WWE. To be honest with you. Number one. Number two, what's going to happen if AEW closes doors, bro? Because at this point, I give them 2 or 3 years left on this current TV contract deal with Time Warner and Warner Media, and if shit don't change, it's done. It's over. Honestly, like I said, bro, you got to look at the narrative, man. There's just no excitement around this company. And it's only, I've said this for a while now, it's only going to take one big household name for AEW to say, you know what, the hell with this shit, I'm leaving. And we know who those names are, mainly MJF. If MJF says, you know what, I'm not going to renew my contract, I'm not going to sign a new deal, whether it's 3 to 5 years with AEW, I'm going to go over to WWE. AEW might as well close up shop and close the door. And that might be a hot take for a lot of people. Oh, MJF can go, who gives a shit? No, bro, you can't lose a talent like that guy. You can't. Because if MJF goes over to WWE, you're losing fans in fucking droves to go watch MJF on WWE television. Absolutely. The talent that the fans that you have right now are there to watch MJF, to watch Will Ospreay, and watch Kenny Omega, and maybe the Young Bucks. Adam Cole. You know what I mean? Like, once MJF goes, bro, there's going to be more fans that are going to follow him over to WWE. And he's going to shock the world when he goes over to WWE. Absolutely. It's already written in stone, bro, at this point. The guy's still young in professional wrestling. He's going to finish out his career in WWE and become a first ballot Hall of Famer. It's already going to happen. He's got the promos. He's got the wrestling skill. He's got the ability to do both and sell a match like sliced bread. You don't think WWE's not entertaining the idea of bringing in someone like MJF? Come on, bro. Come on. When Cody Rhodes and CM Punk left AEW, it was a gut punch to Tony Khan and AEW. Especially CM Punk, because I told you guys before, when Tony Khan brought in Phil Brooks, a.k.a. CM Punk, that was Tony Khan's ace in the hole. That was the guy that was supposed to put AEW in their own league and miles ahead of what WWE was doing. And unfortunately, it backfired in Tony Khan's face, and the shit didn't pan out. So it left a humongous stain on AEW as far as where they're going in the future. Absolutely. It's the same thing when they signed that TV deal with Time Warner for this new TV contract. The biggest worry for a lot of fans, including myself, was the fact that once he signed this contract for a new TV rights deal, is that Tony Khan was going to take his foot off the gas pedal and put this shit in cruise control and watch this company burn to shit. And right now, that's exactly what the hell is going on right now. This company has no direction. There's no focus. There's no, there's no storylines that are getting the fans invested in the product right now, bro. It's pretty much what you see is what you get. And if you like what you're seeing on AEW television right now, I don't know what to tell you. Specifically Dynamite, their A show. No, absolutely not. And that's why I said, bro, you think with the news coming out of Ricky Starks getting finally released out of his contract and Miro getting released out of his contract, that's not going to set off a freaking, a pissed off employees in the backstage area for AEW that want to get the fuck out. No, that set off a goddamn a bomb off in that place with people pissed off backstage and say, you know what? Well, hell, they got fucking released. Why can't I get fucking released? You don't think that set off the whole that emotion? Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I'm telling you right now, there's so many people that are pissed off with their current status in AEW and the way that AEW is going right now. And once they found out Ricky, like I said, once they found out Ricky and Miro were getting released, oh man, that chain reaction to that shit was probably priceless. Well, hell, like I said, they got released. Why the fuck can I not get released? And that's pretty much probably what's going on right now in AEW. Tony Khan's probably got calls out the wazoo right now from talent that he currently has signed to AEW saying, hey man, you released those two guys, I want to get the fuck out too. I want out. Get me the hell out. Yeah. And I'm telling you guys right now, man, it's going to take one big household name from AEW to leave, like someone like MJF, and it's game over. This company's not going to last, bro. It's just the way it is. I think what's going to happen is, unfortunately, AEW is going to fold. Tony Khan will still remain in the pro wrestling business, but he'll be solely running Ring of Honor. And he'll run Ring of Honor as probably one of the best independent wrestling shows on the planet. They probably won't never even get a TV deal after what happened with Dynamite and Collision. And he'll run the Indies. And he'll run Ring of Honor. And he'll be one of the best independent wrestling companies in the world. That's it. And AEW folds. And those talents are free to go wherever the hell they want. And a lot of them are going to go to WWE if they get the opportunity to do so. That's what's going to happen, bro. The next 2-3 years max, if we keep getting the shit that we're getting now, oh yeah, it's game over. It's game over. They're already losing fans at droves, bro. I already mentioned this last week when it pertained to the Grand Slam show. That shit was so fucking bad that they were selling, buy one, get, 2 tickets for free or some shit. Because they couldn't sell fucking tickets for that show. It's a 21-hour tape delay. First of all, it's not live. And people and Tony Khan, it wasn't a pay-per-view. Bullshit, bro. You telling me that wasn't a pay-per-view. You booked a stadium show that can hold 50,000 fucking people in that stadium, and you're telling me that was a regular Collision episode? Or get the fuck out of here with that. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. When you consider the fact that the Royal Rumble in January held almost 70,000 people? You're 20,000 people shy from that. 50,000 people, but you're saying, it's a Collision or Dynamite show in a stadium in Australia. Get the hell out of here, bro. The reason why you're not saying it was a pay-per-view is because you couldn't sell fucking tickets to that goddamn show. So you had to go to a smaller venue somewhere in Australia and sell 2-for-1 tickets for people to actually show up to this goddamn mess. And there's 3 matches booked on this card. There's a tag team matchup between Fletcher teaming up with Takeshita taking on Omega and Ospreay, which is going to be a banger tag team match. Then you got Mariah May taking on Toni Storm for the AEW Women's World Championship. And then you got the announcement that happened a couple days ago that Mercedes Moné, I believe, is going to defend the TBS title against Harley Cameron. I mean, come on, man. Get the fuck out of here, bro. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. And I think people need to wake up and smell the goddamn Folgers and realize that this company is in the goddamn shithouse, bro. This company is going no fucking place fast. It's not. And it's a fucking shame because at the end of the day, you can't sit here and tell me to my face that AEW does not have the fucking talent. No, AEW's got the talent. We just need story for these talents to build matches leading up to these fucking pay-per-views that you're charging people. Even now, with the current state of AEW, you're still charging the fans $50 to watch this fucking disaster. That's the problem. You're not giving the fans anything to hold on to get invested in, to even want to purchase these fucking pay-per-views that you're charging people $50 to watch this shit. That's my problem with this current situation with AEW. There's no story, there's no investment, but you want investment from us, the fans, to purchase pay-per-views that are costing people $50 a pop to watch this shit with no storyline, no build. That's a fucking problem. That's a big ass problem. But I've been told, hey, you know what, you're too hard on AEW. Bullshit. You think I'm the only fucking guy that's been saying this shit about AEW for the past 2 years? Especially the past 6 months? No, bro. No. I'm not going to sit here, and I told you guys this, I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat shit because, oh, you know what, I want to get in the good graces of Tony Khan. No. I'm not looking for media credentials. I'm not looking to, sit at the table with Tony Khan. No. I'm not. I'm not. And there's a lot of people that do this shit that want to, sugarcoat shit and be chummy with Tony Khan. I'm not. I said the same shit about Raw. This Raw that just happened. I thought the show was bad. I thought it was awful. There's no build. There's no hype up leading up to WrestleMania. We're on the road to WrestleMania, and they're pumping the brakes. I'm not going to sugarcoat shit. If you want something that's real, here we are. This is what we do, and this is what I do. I keep it real. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm not saying, Tony Khan, oh yeah, you're too hard on AEW, man. You should lighten up on AEW. No, fuck that shit, bro. No, because I've been saying it for fucking months. That AEW books this shit like it's All Japan Pro Wrestling, like it's 1980 or early 1990. And newsflash to y'all, All Japan Pro Wrestling, yeah, it's around. Oh, it's around. But it damn sure wasn't, it's not as big as it once was. Oh, no. Hell no. And that Japan shit, with all due respect to New Japan and All Japan, this shit does not work in the States, bro. We need story. All Japan Pro Wrestling basically was tournament-based. And I mentioned this multiple times, bro. And they would put on banger matches. Great matches. I mentioned legends that wrestled for them, like Vader, Misawa, Kawada. All those guys were absolute legends when they wrestled for All Japan Pro Wrestling. Hell, the fans loved Misawa so much that he left All Japan and started his own company that's still prevalent to this day, God rest his soul, known as Pro Wrestling Noah. He took everybody that wrestled for All Japan Pro Wrestling at one time and left. A mass exodus of superstars that were once wrestled for All Japan Pro Wrestling left All Japan Pro Wrestling, followed Misawa, and Misawa started his own company with Pro Wrestling Noah. That's how important that guy was to professional wrestling. And I give him all the respect in the world. Big fan of Misawa. But this ain't Japan, man. This ain't New Japan, and this ain't All Japan. This is not tournament-based wrestling, and Tony Khan has a fascination with Japan wrestling. I get it, bro. There's a lot of great talent have come from Japan. We've seen them. We've watched them. One of my all-time favorites, the Great Muta. Obviously made a big name for himself over in Japan. I get it. New Japan has the G1 Climax. The greatest tournament in professional wrestling. I get it. A lot of great names have won that tournament. Doesn't mean AEW needs to follow suit. And Tony Khan, like I said, has a fixation with Japan wrestling. Especially New Japan. It just doesn't work over in the States, bro. It does not work. With all due respect to New Japan, it does not work over in the States. It just does not. You need captivating storylines to get the fans invested, so the fans are invested so much so that they're willing to invest in the product by purchasing merchandise, by purchasing tickets to go to these goddamn shows, or purchasing the pay-per-views to watch them. And we're not getting that. We're not. Instead, your ticket sales are down, the people that actually go to these shows. Your pay-per-view buys are down. Your merchandise sales are down. Your TV ratings are down from what they were 3 years ago. I mean, my biggest thing with AEW is that the people that work for AEW, or even the people that, gave them the TV rights deal, like Time Warner and Warner Media, you had to see what the fuck is going on. You cannot be that blind to really what the hell is going on here. The TV ratings are bad right now. It's horrible right now. So you can't tell me that the executives and the people that work for Time Warner and Warner Media are not seeing this shit and approaching Tony Khan saying, hey, shit needs to change, bro. Or we're gonna pull the plug on this and we're gonna go our own way and you're gonna have to figure something else out. Someone has to be saying something. Whoever's on that writing team had to realize what the fuck they got. Somebody has to figure out something, because you can't tell me that AEW is cooking right now, bro. They're not. They're not. Because you have people on this roster that are begging to get the fuck out of AEW. Because the current status of AEW right now and where the company's going. You see someone like Chris Jericho, do an interview with somebody, I think it was this past weekend, saying that he demands to be on every single Dynamite and Collision. Ain't nobody asking for that shit. Nobody wants to see Jericho on every single Dynamite with this learning tree bullshit. The fact of the matter is, when it pertains, and I'm going to keep it real, is Jericho a legend? Yeah, he is. He's had a hell of a career. But the reason why there's nothing else left for Jericho to do in AEW. He's not even putting over the younger talent, number one. And he's trying to stay relevant on AEW television by having these bullshit promos and these vignettes that he plays from the learning tree. Jericho's career is done, bro. And as more time goes on, it's ultimately hurting his career. Because now they're making it as a joke and a mockery on Jericho's career. And he doesn't give a shit. As long as he's on every single AEW Dynamite television episode or Collision, he's happy. Jericho needs to retire. And I can tell you right now, flat out, I'm not the only one that said that. Jericho needs to go. And in the whole situation with Jeff Jarrett, it's right there neck and neck with Jericho. Those guys need to retire. It's not benefiting AEW at all. At all. You know, when Jericho came into AEW, yeah, he did great things in the beginning of AEW because he was actually involved in serious storylines and trying to build compelling storylines for the fans. The Inner Circle, you know, they had the Anarchy in the Arena matchup. They had a great stable with Santana Ortiz, Jake Hager, Sammy Guevara. They were doing great things as the Inner Circle. Absolutely. And then that started to fall out. You know what I mean? So, like, again, you had to ask yourself when it pertains to Chris Jericho, really, what is next for Jericho to do in AEW? Really. Same thing with MJF. That's why I said I would not be surprised if MJF doesn't re-sign with AEW and he goes over to WWE. There's nothing left for that guy to do in AEW. You think he's going to settle for a TNT title or a Continental Championship? No, bro. Because MJF feels that those two titles are beneath him. He's going after the Triple B, the AEW World title. That's the only reason why he's still there. Other than that, once he's gone, bro, this company's done. He's done. So at the end of the day, yeah, I'm happy that Miro and Ricky Starks got released out of their contracts, finally. But don't get it twisted, bro. There's still issues with AEW, number one. And number two, I can bet dollars to donuts, like I mentioned earlier in this episode, that there's probably superstars right now that are currently working with AEW that are lined up in droves begging Tony Khan right now for a goddamn release out of this fucking company. I bet you. I bet money on it. Why? Because this company is going in the goddamn toilet. And the superstars on the roster are fucking frustrated. They're frustrated on them not having TV time, and they're frustrated with the direction of AEW and where they're going. These people ain't stupid, bro. They got common sense. This company is going to go in the toilet if shit doesn't change. So what better way to kind of counterbalance that? Well, okay, well, I'm going to test free agency. I'm going to test, the free agent market. Yeah. Because I'm telling you right now, bro, if we keep getting the same shit we're getting on AEW television as of late, this company's not going to last, man. It's not. And I'm just keeping it real. I don't want the company to fail. I don't want the company to fold. I've seen it before with other companies. Whether it's in professional wrestling or MMA, I've seen it. And it sucks. It's a gut punch, absolutely. But if I'm looking at it from the betterment of the superstars on that roster, yeah, bro, I mean, if you're not being utilized on television and you feel as if you can be utilized somewhere else and actually get work, then yeah. I mean, I mentioned the same thing about, saying, oh, you got to honor the contract. You got to honor how can they honor the contract, bro, if the boss is not willing to work them when they've done nothing fucking wrong? How can you honor the contract? He doesn't want to work you, but then he wants to pay you to sit home and sit on your ass and do nothing, only to prevent you from going over to the competition. That's it. So how are you supposed to honor that contract when you're willing to work, but he doesn't want to work you, but he wants to keep you on the shelf just to prevent you from going over to the competition? That's pettiness shit, man. It's petty. And I'm sorry, but I still believe that Tony Khan is delusional, bro. I'm sorry. He's delusional. This is a guy that believes in his own bullshit, and right now his bullshit is bad. The shit stinks, bro. It's bad, man. It is. And it's crazy. It really is crazy to see how this shit is starting to slowly unravel. And it is, bro. You think this is just the beginning of it? No. Or the end of it? No. This is only the beginning. This shit's going to slowly start to unravel, and you're going to have more people that work with AEW wanting to get the fuck out of there. It's only the beginning. Ray Phoenix is still begging to get the hell out of there, which I don't blame him. Look what his brother's doing. Look what Penn is doing right now on Raw. Come on, bro. You don't think Phoenix wants a piece of that? A piece of that pie? over in WWE? Come on. Of course he does. He wants to get the fuck out of AEW so bad you couldn't believe it. And they're keeping him in AEW purgatory where he can't do a goddamn thing. He can't make even any extra money. The guy they won't even sell the guy's merchandise at the merchandise table at AEW events. That's how petty Tony Khan is. But I'm the problem. I'm the guy that's, you're being too rough on AEW. Get out of here, bro. Seriously. I'm too rough on AEW. There's so many other people that I've talked to in droves that have said the same shit that I've been saying about AEW for the past few months. That this company has no idea what the fuck they're doing. They don't. And some people, why watch the product? I watch the product because this is what I do. This is what I do. But I'm not going to sit here and say, the show's great. Everything's working out great for AEW when blatantly it's not. Like I said earlier, and I'll say it one last time, I am not sitting here going to try to rub shoulders with Tony Khan to get in Tony Khan's good graces and sit at the table with Tony Khan. Absolutely not, bro. What you see is what you get, and I'm as real as it gets. Hands down. AEW is in deep shit. Deep shit. And if you guys can't realize that by now, just wait, bro, because this shit's going to get worse. And AEW needs a wake-up call. You thought Grand Slam and how bad that went is going to be the wake-up? No. I told you guys what's going to happen. One or two things are going to happen. You're going to have one big name leave AEW and they're done. Or you're going to be putting on these AEW events, these dynamites that can hold, 6,000 people, and you only got about maybe 800 people in the crowd. That's when people are going to start waking up saying, damn, bro, this is bad. This is really bad. That's when people are going to start waking up and realizing that, AEW is in hot water. And they are. They are. I'm telling you right now, bro, there's no way, if they keep going the way they're going, this company's going to survive. Not a chance in hell. Not. And the fact of the matter is, Tony Khan is turning into the next Vince McMahon. Minus the allegations. And that's really what it's turning into. He's running this company into the fucking ground. And there's been so many people, bro, so many people that I've talked to that said the same shit. That this guy does not give a shit about the fan base for AEW. And he's going to write these shows and run these shows how he wants and how he sees fit. When ultimately how he sees fit is also causing the demise of his own company. That's what I mean by someone being delusional. You know what I mean? You're not willing to change, bro. You're not willing to pivot to make this company better. You know what I mean? You're writing shit on the wall hoping something will stick and it's a good idea for the show, and it's not working. It's not. You got the talent, absolutely. But with all due respect of Will Ospreay cannot save AEW alone. Kenny Omega coming back cannot save AEW alone. It's not going to happen. It's not. They need to go back to what brought them to the dance, bro. And I mentioned this so many times about AEW in the past. They need to go back to what brought them to the dance. And what I mean by that is rebuild the shitty-ass tag team division that we currently have right now because it's abysmal. Start writing compelling storylines to get the fans invested in your product. And then you'll have fans come back and actually be in tune to what's going on. You know what I mean? Look at all the stories that we've had in AEW that were so good, bro. The person behind who was wearing the devil's mask. All these people getting attacked backstage. You had the Jericho and... Christ, bro, the Jericho and MJF. Pretty much the Broadway special that they had. With, their matchup that they had and hyping them up. And the clash that they had. It was like a Broadway special, bro. The way that they had that design with, Jericho singing and MJF singing. And, all the Broadway dancers and stuff like that. It was hilarious. And that whole feud that Jericho had with MJF. It was great. It was absolutely hilarious. Sting's retirement tour that he was on. All the vignettes that were played for Sting. You know what I mean? Adam Page and Swerve. Swerve buying his childhood home that he grew up in. He finally was able to buy his childhood home. After what Swerve did by breaking into Adam Page's home, Page then breaks into Swerve's childhood home that he just bought. And then instead of Page... trying to find where Swerve is, Page goes to the goddamn house and then takes a match and burns the goddamn house to the ground. Why are we not getting shit like that? Why? And I mean, you look at a situation like Swerve and Page, two of your biggest stars in the company, and after the match they had, the banger match they had, it's like you don't know what to fucking do with them. Swerve's going up against Ricochet, okay. But Paige is taking a back seat. Paige ain't done shit. He ain't doing nothing now. This guy should be in the conversation for an AEW World title. And you're not doing that. Why? You look at Darby Allin. I've said this so many fucking times about Darby that I've said it till I was blue in the face. Darby should have been the guy at Wrestle Dream to challenge Bryan Danielson for the AEW World title. It wrote itself, bro. Both of these guys, I've said it multiple times, both of those guys are from the state of Washington. Wrestle Dream was in Tacoma, Washington. Okay, Darby would have beat Bryan, it would have put Darby in the stratosphere as far as being over. His first world title win, and then Danielson retires, he passes the torch to Darby Allin. No, we got Jon Moxley. And then it forms into the Death Riders, which ultimately is the death, literally, of AEW. That's not a story. If you're saying that's a story, that's a bunch of bullshit. The Death Riders is ultimately killing AEW right now. I'm telling you, when Jon Moxley's music hits, or that Death Riders music hits, it's like the sound of death for AEW. I can't stand it. Oh, give it time. Oh, the fans need to be patient. Patient? This fucking storyline's been going on for 6 months, bro. If not 7 months. And the story's gone no fucking where. Be patient. Get the hell out of here. Honestly, what are we doing with this shit? And then Jon Moxley has the audacity and the gall to say, oh, the fans need to be patient. Give it time. Let it marinate. Well, goddamn, bro, we've been sitting here letting this marinate and sitting here patiently waiting for this shit to marinate for 6 goddamn months. Let's start putting the steak on the goddamn grill, man. Let it sizzle. Give us something. We're not even getting that. You're still marinating this goddamn steak in the bag, waiting for it to fucking cook on the goddamn grill. Give us something, bro. Something. We're not even getting that. Let it marinate. Let it settle. Really? Fuck out of here. Let it marinate. Come on, bro. Let it marinate for what? The shit's going nowhere. Nowhere. And everybody's saying, oh, this is going to be like the next NWO angle. Bullshit. This shit is so horrible to watch, bro. It is. But, then you got superstars saying, oh, give it time, be patient. Bro, we've been patient. Time for a change. Something. Time to pivot. Give us something else. Please. Because if this is a shit that we're going to keep getting, the show's over, folks. That's it. Ain't going to be no more Showtime. Showtime's closed. Done. Stick a fork in it. Done. Bell's already rung. They already left. Because, bro, this shit is fucking bad, man. Absolutely bad. So my thing is, at this point, like I said, where does AEW go from here? And that's the biggest question with all this shit. Where are they going from here? What's going to happen in 2025? Is there going to be a turnaround for AEW for the better? Because right now, I don't see it. And like I mentioned earlier, you think with Ricky and Miro leaving and finally get released out of their contracts from AEW, you don't think that didn't stir up the fucking roster and the people that are pissed off and have displeasures with AEW? You don't think that rattled the shit out of them saying, you know what? If they got released, I want to get the fuck out of here too. I'm pretty sure it did. I can almost 100% guarantee that it did. Because there's people there that want to get the fuck out of there. And they're probably lining up around the block to get the fuck away from AEW and Tony Khan. Because this guy is killing his own company. From the bottom up. Literally. And if people can't see that, I don't know what to tell you, bro. The proof's in the pudding. Look at the ratings. Look at the ratings. Look at all the backstage drama. Look at the fact that there have been superstars that have literally gone online and vented their frustrations with this company, begging to be released. You know what I mean? The proof's in the pudding, bro. And I'm not the only one that's saying this shit. Everybody that I've talked to, other podcasters out there are saying all the same shit. And they're all also saying that we're tired of saying the same shit because it's all we're getting is the same shit, bro. We want something different. We want a pivot. We want captivating television. We want compelling storylines to get us invested in your fucking product, and it's if you don't even give a shit. And this company, for what I understand, the whole mission statement of this company is that this company was built by the fans, for the fans. Well, hell, what happened to that fucking mission statement? Will you tell me that? Because right now it seems as if Tony Khan and AEW doesn't give a rat's ass about us fans that are forking out money and forking out our time to watch this product. to keep this company afloat the best way we can. Because once people stop watching and stop paying money to even watch their events, show's over, bro. It's done. Us fans are keeping this company alive the best way that we can because we believe in AEW. And we want AEW to be successful, and we want to see them succeed and be around for a very long time. But right now, it seems as if that's not going to happen. Because the guy that's, controlling AEW is the same guy that's ultimately killing AEW. And that person being Tony Khan. They don't know what to do, bro. And to be honest with you, I mean, not to, throw more shit on the parade for Tony Khan, but look at the entire situation, the portfolio, if you will, of the Khan family for Tony Khan. This family also owns the Jacksonville Jaguars, bro. And that team has not... I can tell you right now, I watched football my entire life, just like a lot of other people. But the Jacksonville Jaguars have not done shit in NFL for a long, long time, bro. We're probably... Since, as far as I remember, they haven't done shit or even was remotely relevant until the days they had Mark Brunell as a quarterback. It's a long time ago, bro. You're talking well over probably 20 years ago. Lots changed. Lot has changed. So again, you had to ask yourself, and then they hired the new coach and the whole Duval, like it's embarrassing, man. It honestly is embarrassing. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't. They have all the money in the world. That is prevalent. They probably have more money than Vince McMahon does right now, or WWE does. They got the money, and they got the talent. All we're asking for as fans is storyline. That's it. We're not trying to make a mountain out of a molehill, bro. It's easy. Write the fucking story so we can get invested in your product, so you can bring the fans back to watch your product and get invested in it, so they will purchase more merchandise, purchase more tickets to sit at these events, purchase the pay-per-views. All we're asking for is story. Christ, Tony, everybody's been saying it, bro, for the past 6 months. That's all we're asking for. And that line goes around the block as far as people asking for storylines for AEW. That line goes around the block. That's all we want. I don't want another addition to the roster. I don't want to bring someone else in. I don't want to have this person come in or that person come in. No. Give me storylines that are compelling enough for the current roster that you have now for us to get invested in this product. That's it. That's all I'm asking for. And to be honest with you, if they can do that, this company would have no issues. They would be successful. Yeah, they might have their little bullshit drama here and there, but as far as fans tuning into the show, yeah, they'll come back in droves, bro. We're just asking for story. That's it. We're tired of seeing here's the dream match. Here's another dream match. Okay, can that dream match have a little story with it? Something kind of that's captivating enough? You bring in Ricochet and have Ricochet go up against Will Ospreay. Okay, great. But a lot of people don't know the history behind Will Ospreay and Ricochet and how they had matches on the indies. A lot of fans nowadays don't know the history between Ricochet and Will Ospreay. So maybe you need to elaborate on that and build up a storyline or vignettes of these guys wrestling on the indies. Something. To be like, oh, damn, they had a great match back in the day. We might get another good match out of Ricochet and Will Ospreay today. Same thing with Omega and Okada. A lot of fans do know what happened between Omega and Okada. A lot of fans don't. So how are you going to intertwine that to make the fans that are watching now currently understand the story here between Okada and Omega? Because a lot of fans didn't tune in to what New Japan was doing back in the day. You know what I mean? So again, you had to get the fans invested. Why are we getting this match? The when, the where, and the why. And we're not getting that in the current status of AEW. And it's ultimately crippling this show. That's my main thing, bro. They need to switch shit up. And they need to pivot. Because if not, this company will not succeed. And you're going to have a lot more talent that is currently on the AEW roster begging to be released out of their contracts from AEW. But with that being said, this was my news and rumors of AEW. I hope you guys are out there